Welcome to Daily Magic, a cozy, growth-minded, sparkly corner of the world. Join me, Shayna Wexler, as we revel in and rediscover the abundant magic that fills our daily lives. So brew up some tea in your favorite mug, settle into your comfiest chair, and breathe deep as we create Daily Magic. Hello, my beautiful friend. I am so happy that you are here. How are you feeling today? Have you been using the nervous system regulating breath that I taught you a couple of weeks ago? I have. It's been a few weeks since I asked you this, so I am quite eager to know, what tea are you sipping today as we share in this time together? I am sipping, you know what? I'm going to let you guess, actually. So take a moment. Take a moment. You know the answer. You do. I know you know the answer. You know the answer. Yes, that is correct. I am sipping a mug full of my very favorite loose leaf organic Darjeeling. I am sipping that. How did you know? I invite you to get yourself nice and cozy and settled in as we delve into our episode 29, The Magic of Mealtime. Isn't it so crazy that we are already on episode 29? We have been together for the past 6 months so far, and this time with you each week has become so important to me, and I absolutely love that you are the kind of person who values coming together to connect and to grow and to develop self-care and love and value. And I love that you are the kind of person who puts attention and actions towards celebrating the magical moments of this beautiful life. This being episode 29 means that next week's episode will be our 30th episode, and I'm bringing this to your attention not only to show you how incredible my math skills are, but I am bringing this to your attention also to let you know that next week's episode will be our final episode of season 1 of Daily Magic. We will be taking a brief break over the holiday season, and we will return on February 11th. Right in time to kick off season 2 of Daily Magic with a Valentine's Day episode that I'm already so excited about. So that being said, don't think that I'm going to just leave you high and dry until then. Keep your eyes peeled for some very fun bonuses on this feed in the meantime, okay? And now let's explore some of the magical properties of mealtime. If you have been joining me for a while, you already know that there are multiple ways that meals and the act of meal preparation can be extremely magical. I've already touched on a few of these with the magic of plating and presentation, the magic of le goûter, and the magic of tea time. But wait, there's more! In many spiritual traditions, mealtime is used as a sacred meditation. In these traditions, it makes the food and the act of eating the sole focus. So rather than being a time for conversation or entertainment or television, we put our undivided attention on the food in front of us and the incredible sensory experience that eating can be when we slow down enough to be in our present moment. I know that for many of you listening, I have already lost you here. Because frankly, it sounds pretty boring, and I hear that. But here's the really cool thing. When we tune into the food in front of us, so many magical things begin to happen for us. We begin to appreciate the beauty of the food itself. We tune into the aromas, and then we begin to see each element that comprises our meal. We begin to wonder where each ingredient came from before it made its way to our store shelves. we start to trace the path of our meal's journey to our plate, back and back and back. We become aware of the efforts of countless other people that bring this nourishment to us. From the produce dude that arranged it on a display for us in our local grocery store, to the workers in the back unloading the heavy shipments, the truck drivers who pull long shifts to bring this food across the country, the people packaging and sorting the foods, all the way back to the very farmer that sowed that seed into the earth. What effort and care was put forth by so many to make this available to us. Gratitude begins to well up inside of us for the work that so many people put forth in order to make it so easy for us to consume this. But it doesn't stop there, does it? As we slowly unravel the step by step, we find ourselves in awe at the utter magic of the earth itself. A seed is put into the ground. A little water, a little sun, and some patience, and nourishment springs forth. And not just nourishment, delicious nourishment of all colors and sweetness and spice. This magical planet makes this for us. How? What? Now we're marveling at the miraculous. As our gratitude expands, it begins to shift again. And we find ourselves feeling so deeply grateful for the money to buy this healthy, nourishing food. And we begin to trace that back and see the beautiful opportunities we've been given to make money in the way that we do. The things that aligned, the people who recommended us or interceded on our behalf. What a gift to have the money and means to go to a store, walk in, see what we would like, and purchase it right there. How rich we are! We begin to realize it. Now we're filled with gratitude for our immense fortune, community, and support. As we gaze at our food, we also begin to feel thankfulness towards ourselves. Thank you, self, for putting forth the energy to make the money that affords me this food. Thank you, self, for choosing foods that are healthy and nourishing to my body, mind, and emotions. Thank you, self, for devoting the time to prepare this for me and for even plating it so beautifully. And now our attention shifts to the act of eating. As, with full mindfulness, we bring the first bite of food to our mouths, we taste the delicious flavors. We bring attention to the varied textures. We begin to notice the way we move our food from one side of our mouth to the other as we chew. And without meaning to, we begin to marvel about how cool teeth are, how they each serve different purposes. We take the time to fully chew each bite and realize how satisfying it is to be present with each bite of nourishment. A wave of gratitude hits us as we realize what an amazing gift it is to be able to taste and to smell. We could certainly function in a manner where we ingested nourishment simply for survival's sake. But instead, we have the gift of senses that make nourishing ourselves a pleasure, a delight, a daily experience that we look forward to and can enjoy. What magical beings we are! As we chew and appreciate this meal, our body inherently knows what to do with the nutrients, how to break it down and disperse it where it needs to go. As we mindfully chew our next bite, we feel the way that our nervous system is also being nurtured through this act. Our tension has released. The focus we have placed on this experience has left no room for anxiety or fear. Our body, mind, and emotions have been nourished by this simple meal, and our gratitude is now overflowing. If you are enjoying this magic-filled respite today, may you please leave a 5-star rating on Spotify by clicking the 3 dots at the top of the page and clicking Rate Show. That is so helpful for me, and I really appreciate you taking the moment to do that to support me. It would also be so beautifully helpful to me if you would do the quick sign up to become a monthly supporter by clicking the link in the show notes below. Thank you so much. As I'm sure you can already feel, eating a meal in full presence of the experience can be an incredibly powerful practice. And since I'm aware that most of us are not monks living on the top of a mountain somewhere with the time to do this full practice for every meal, I'd like to share with you the 30-second version of this that I make certain to do before every meal. And perhaps there are elements in my practice that will resonate with you and that you will want to adopt and make your own. So, before each meal or snack or tea time or goûter, before I take a bite or a sip of anything that I've prepared, I sit down deliberately and I allow myself to feel the feelings of my body being settled. I pause any podcast or music that I have playing, and then with the silence, I take about 2 or 3 really slow, deliberate, grounding breaths. And for me, I really focus on my exhalation, really letting all of that air go and using that to increase my feelings of being settled and to center me into this moment. If my thoughts continue racing after that, I take a few more breaths until I am really here, now, in the moment. I look at my food, I admire its beauty, and then I call the feelings, the sensations of gratitude into my body and heart. Then I quietly or audibly thank myself, the other humans involved, and the earth. And with that full silence and presence, I take a deliberate first bite or first sip and allow myself to really sit with those flavors and sensations for about 5 seconds, really just letting it soak in, Then I allow myself to turn my podcast back on or engage in conversation or whatever the case may be. And because I do this multiple times every day, my body, mind, and emotions really love and enjoy this. The centering, the grounding, the feelings of intense gratitude, not just a mental recognition of thank you for XYZ, but the feelings of that intense gratitude. Those aspects in and of themselves are really nourishing to my being. It's a practice, a ritual that is in essence a prayer in the purest meaning of the word. It isn't a tradition or obligation or simply habitual. It's 30 seconds of intentional being that every part of me appreciates. In the comments today, I would love to know what practices you each have or are interested in cultivating around your mealtime. And as meaningful and mindful as it is to use mealtime in this meditative way, there are also ways to enhance mealtime to bring out the light-hearted elements of its magic. So much of rediscovering magic in our daily lives is about looking for and being mindful of places where we can inject elements of play. And when it comes to creative mealtime magic, my best friend Larissa and her awesome husband and good buddy of mine, Neil, are always game. What started out as a meal in which we chose a specific country as our culinary theme, and Neil topping off the experience by putting a record of corresponding music on the player as we dined, has become a series of mealtime adventures. One of our most recent was me spinning a random color generator wheel and us all agreeing that together we would create a full meal, appetizers, main, dessert, and cocktails using only foods that were the color that the generator landed on. Our color was amber. Not orange, not the yellowish family amber. And yes, as we were all in the kitchen together crafting our amber-colored meal, the song Amber by 311 was playing on Neil's phone on loop. He had, once again, found a way to match our evening's soundtrack to our culinary theme. We have done a progressive dinner where we each got assigned a course to create. And then the rules this time were that we weren't allowed to discuss with each other what we were doing for our course. So we each had to create ours solo and surprise each other with our creation. And that was easy enough on my part. I was assigned cocktails and appetizers. So of course, I spent a week working on and testing out a magical cocktail concoction that would change color when each participant would add a special garnish and give it a stir. And yes, you absolutely guessed correctly that I did in fact decide to use butterfly pea tea in this magical cocktail. Yes, correct. So they came over to my house for the opening course, and then in order to stay committed to the rules of the game, Neil left early to head for his house to begin creating his course, the main, so that we would be surprised by what it was when Larissa and I arrived. And yes, Larissa and Neil are married. Married. They live together in the same house. They shared the same fridge, and yet they kept their recipes, their ingredients, and preparation a secret from one another so as not to spoil the playful aspect of the game. I loved that. As I mentioned, creating opportunities to incorporate play and taking deliberate moments to tune into childlike fun and wonder is a really foundational component of being able to experience daily magic as a lifestyle. And I know that for many of you, it can feel really difficult for you to even begin accessing those parts of yourself. A lot of you have spoken to me about your deep desire to think in playful and creative ways, but that you find it really difficult to really access your imagination in that way, that it isn't something that's free flowing and actually feels pretty stuck when you try to reach into accessing it. And so much of the time when we're experiencing that inability to access those parts of ourselves, it's because we're disconnected from our inspiration. And so many things can cause this. But major life changes and transitions are really at the top of that list. When we go through a difficult breakup, or divorce, or losing your job, or losing a loved one, or even moving to a new city, and transitions like hitting large birthday milestones, that 30, that 40, that 50, can leave us feeling really disconnected from our true self and our sense of ourself. We can end up feeling really dulled and lacking that spark, And if you know me at all, you know that at the root of everything that I do and create, this podcast, my YouTube channel, my client coaching, and even my music, everything that I do is really underscored by this really deep passion for helping to empower others to truly live their most joyful, inspired lives that are ripe with these magical moments. And that is exactly why I created Reignite Inspiration Coaching. It's a one-on-one coaching experience with me, and it's fully personalized for your specific situation. And it works holistically, body, mind, spirit, and emotions. And I can promise you that it will dissolve your inspirational blocks and will replenish your joy for life. I know that a lot of you are aware that at the start of this podcast 6 months ago, I went through a really shattering loss when the person who I fully considered to be my life partner unexpectedly left. And not only was my heart in pieces on the floor, and I laugh because it keeps me from crying like I did in episode 2, The Magic of Heartbreak, when I told you all about this. But not only was my heart in absolute pieces, but the foundational pieces of home and community and security were massively rocked for me as well due to that change. But even though it's been a very upsetting and challenging time in my life, throughout the entirety of it, I have continued to express to my friends that I feel so grateful that I have been continually waking up each day still feeling really inspired, really inspired. For many months prior to this happening, I'd been practicing all that I had uncovered about how to open ourselves up to our continual flow of inspiration. I already knew that it worked to help me find my way back into an inspired way of living after loss and transition. But I have been really thrilled to realize that when we know and practice our own unique set of conditions, we can continue to live inspired lives even in the midst of difficulty. It has been such a massive gift to me that even during the really hard times, I have been so in my inspirational flow, not only on a creative role with the creation of this podcast and my YouTube channel and the full development and launch of this Reignite Inspiration Coaching, my music, poetry, and all of that stuff, but also in the real quality of life ways of being able to feel so grateful and present in the beautiful, small and slow moments of life. I built, cultivated, nurtured, and harvested a garden. I sat and truly watched the sunset almost every evening. I've gone on long walks with my pup. And of course, I enjoyed my magical daily tea times as well. So now I want you to imagine waking up every morning in tune with your dreams, fully alive in the sweetness of the present moment and excited about what you want to create in this world as you naturally experience ways to play and to make life more magical for yourself and for those that you love. Together, this is absolutely possible. So if this is speaking to you, just click the link in the show notes below to schedule your free discovery call with me to see if Reignite Inspiration Coaching is the breakthrough that you've been searching for in your life. In another moment of playful mealtime fun with Larissa and Neil, I had been really intrigued by a fruit called sweet tamarind that I saw in the exotic fruit section of the grocery store. And I was really, really excited to buy it because one of the things on my personal bucket list is to taste every fresh fruit that exists in the entire world. So when I got the package home, I was really disappointed to realize that what I had bought actually wasn't fresh tamarind. It was a dried fruit tamarind situation. So, okay, that did not count to check off my bucket list. And now, what am I actually supposed to do with this? Was my situation. But I quickly knew that the fastest way to turn disappointment into fun was to assign this dried tamarind as our surprise element for our next dinner party together. So we decided that the rules this time were that we would figure out how to use this dried tamarind as the prominent element in each course of our meal. This one was really challenging because none of us had ever tasted it before, and it turned out that we had to turn it into a paste before we could even cook with it. And it was like this whole unexpected process and adventure, but we tasted it and imagined and brainstormed of how we could transform it and what we could pair with it. And it was really a blast. And also, I should actually note that making dinner all together with Larissa, Neil, and myself, even without an added theme, is a very playful adventure as we navigate the fact that I'm a strict vegetarian who is allergic to onions and garlic, and Larissa is very strict gluten and dairy free. So just trying to figure out literally any meal that we can all eat is already an effort and creativity. But truly, it is always so much fun to see what ways we can alchemize a "we should hang out for dinner" moment into pure, inspired, creative, playful, memory-making gold together. And so, my beautiful friend, whether you are drawn to practices of mindfulness, lighthearted fun, or both, mealtime is lush with magical possibilities, and I invite you to experience one of these this week and, of course, report back. Oh, and since I know you're listening, Larissa and Neil, this morning I acquired our next surprise meal element. So let's have some fun creating an entire dinner and dessert around Marmite. Be blessed, be light, and be the magic.